Mayor John Tory joining us now for his weekly check-in. Good morning to you, Mayor.
Hi, Mel.
Let's first begin with this modified gray. And in your opinion, if this could work for Toronto?
Oh, definitely. I think it should work. And, again, most of how these things work or don't work is not based on color codes or anything like that. It's based on people, whether it's individual people or business people, and their compliance with whatever the rules are. But, it could work for sure. I mean, the notion to me that we could have outdoor dining, and as you know, pretty well everything happening out of doors is safer by definition with this virus than things that happen indoors. And so, with the weather getting better and with a lot of places having patios or other opportunities to have, for example, outdoor dining, I think we could still maintain a cautious approach with regard to reopening, which I think the health numbers call for, at the same time as recognizing kind of the reality of how people feel and what's going on in the rest of the region and the state of the economy, where a lot of these businesses need some help right now. So, yes, I think it could work.
We continue to hear from business owners in various sectors like, say, salon, nail, hair salons. Could they potentially be included somehow in being able to take work outdoors?
Well, I think the discussions that we've had have not been limited to dining, for example. We've, been engaged in discussions here at the city, but also with the province and with Peel, because we're all sort of in the same boat, about a wide range of options. And it's really just a matter of whether the medical people can conclude that these kinds of activities, and dining is one where it could be carried out safely, subject to restrictions. I mean, you can't have too many people at a table. You can't move around too much. You have to wear a mask, even when you're not eating and all this sort of thing. And same with outdoor fitness. But it's a judgment call, and I will just tell you that there's been a very wide-ranging discussion about possibilities, because I think I fully understand and support the fact the province came out with a framework, but they proved last week correctly, I think, in my view, that they were prepared to make some changes to the gray by changing what happened with religious services. And we're just saying maybe we should have the same degree of flexibility, at least for Toronto and Peel right now, to allow for some evolution to accord with reality that's going on out there and with people's feelings and the needs of business and so on, but at the same time being safe from the virus. So, I don't think anything's off the table, but it's not our decision, and no decision has been taken. So people shouldn't go out and order the hamburgers or get an extra order of beer just yet, although, I hope that there may be cause to do that with regard to outdoor dining, for example.
How quickly could something be put into place? Let's say the province announces it on Friday. Is it possible as of next week we could see these changes implemented?
Well, definitely. I mean, it could probably be sooner than that. They've had this pattern, which, I understand in one way and another way I don't, where they say, well, they have meetings on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then they have a final meeting on Friday, and they make an announcement on Friday, and it's not effective till Monday. And I fully understand the concept that, business and others need some notice with regard to these kinds of changes that go on, especially when you're, restricting things. But when you're opening things up, my guess is you could probably leave it to the ingenuity of the private sector to sort out the time. If you were going to do something that was going to be good for them and that people would adapt. But the bottom line is that the province gets to decide on that. And I think it could be, sooner than next week. But it's certainly any change that happens, if there is a change, and there is no decision on that, could happen next week, yes.
Okay, let's talk about the city's vaccination rollout. Latest figures, just under 319,000 COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered in our city. It's significant. We are starting to catch up. How is it going so far after day one of the mass vaccination clinic? Have there been any hiccups?
Tiny hiccups that you would expect on day one. For example, when the doors opened in Scarborough, there were a few people that were standing in line, and we tried to set things up so as to avoid what you saw happening in other regions earlier on, where you had a lot of older people standing outside for a long time. But we've now fixed that, and I think we really have gone the extra mile. I was at the Scarborough clinic yesterday and saw that they have, wheelchairs and walkers there. They have people there to help the older people in if they need to help, because there's a bit of a walk through the clinic. But otherwise, things went well. The needles were delivered, most importantly, and there were a few people who showed up without an appointment. So I would urge people, please don't go to the immunization clinics without an appointment. Although I will say, learning lessons from, again, things we saw happen, for example, in York Region, we've set up a help desk so that people can be helped there. But you have to get an appointment. You have to come at the time that is specified. So these are the things. And please don't come to these clinics if you're not born in 1941 or earlier. When I was there yesterday, there were 3 people that came without an appointment, and they were lovely people who had just heard what they thought they heard on the television and showed up, and they were helped. But at the end of the day, this is, it just causes more administrative headaches. But otherwise, I think it went quite well.
was going to ask you about, we're following the story with Peel Region about them looking into the possibility of doing some remote learning within their school system. Is anything like that being considered here in Toronto?
Not to my knowledge, and we monitor the school system very closely. Toronto Public Health does, because in the end, the one thing we've been trying to do more so than anything else all the way through is protect the schools and keep them open, because I think that's really good for the kids. I mean, the kids just need to be in school in the context of their overall well-being, and we've done that, of course, for the sake of the parents too, who I think in many cases, depending on what their work situation is at the moment, also count on the kids being in school. So we've really tried hard to keep the schools open, and we would probably continue to do that, just because that's been the posture of our medical officer of health and myself all the way through. So, we've had some outbreaks. We've had a couple of schools that have been closed, and that's been well publicized. But by and large, there has been, to my knowledge, no discussion about doing anything else at the moment other than watching everything on a case-by-case basis, very carefully, but watching case by case.
Okay. As always, we appreciate your time, Mayor John Tory.